Peace, everyone. How you doing? How you doing? Today is Martin Luther King birthday. I didn't know, but I went to the store and found out that the post office was closed and stuff, and found out it was Martin Luther King birthday. So it's also inauguration day, people. Trump has been inaugurated today, and some things have been taking place. Somewhat why I have been what people will call vagina size, made into a vagina or whatever. Because until the political wheels turn the right way, I'm without power, but the political wheels have turned. And the fact that they have done so, I'm happy. I'm a very happy man today that on this Martin Luther King Day that Donald Trump has been inaugurated. Now he's commander in chief, and there's some things to talk about and deal with. Now I'm not the political analyst or whatever, but I do have someone that I just called up. Peace, how you doing, Dollar?
Peace, brother. What's going on, man?
I'm good. Donald Trump has been inaugurated. Like I said, I'm not the political analyst. At least right now, I'm not the political analyst. I'm gonna turn it over to Dollar Skill and listen to him. So y'all have fun listening.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to build on, I think this is a good, a great day of joy. Not even a good day. You let the people know you have a right to your vote and to keep it private, but you let the people know that you voted for Trump. So I think that your vote wasn't in vain. I think today's inauguration, showed a lot of things. Some key executive orders. I see your title. That's one of them. And Trump said he will be signing an executive order today that bans government interference with social media as it relates to First Amendment rights. And I think that that has a huge effect on your platform, your entertainment company, what you represent in regards to your religious rights. Your right to speak freely as it relates to LGBTQIA plus. That's another executive order that he said he's going to sign that makes it law that there's only two genders in the United States, and that is man and woman, or male and female. So just understanding the ramifications of what is went on with your platform as it relates to the FBI and the intelligence agency gathering and all of this stuff that's been going on YouTube. I think the first part of the pendulum has now swung. So I just wanted to build on it a little bit, get your take on it. The First Amendment has been re-solidified. We never should have got here. The First Amendment never really should have been in question, but, it's been a long fight with people who want to see the fall of the Constitution and use different agencies to interfere with people's free speech all throughout the COVID, all throughout the 2020 election, and on various other topics, man. So I think what you laid down in foundation is sound. I think you got a case coming up that's going to shock the world, man. I ain't going to say too much. I don't want to give away too much, but I think you're going to shock the YouTube streets in the coming months ahead. Everything is not done on day one, but some key things is being put in play.
Hey, like I said, I was telling them I had been turned into a vagina, basically, because the politics, they weren't politicking correctly. I see I've been people that came in my head, all kind of stuff that went on. But I endured it. That's what I preach to people. Don't be a pussy ass person and act like you can endure a little affliction. I didn't endure it. Now I look not to endure anymore.
Well, I've always said to you, and I could say this in the public, but in our private combos, I've always said that a lot of your administration, as the brother that you are with the Israel doctrine, has been, in my opinion, parallel to what Donald Trump went through. You had the government basically, in my opinion, weaponized against you for calling out the whole Hassan Campbell situation and, reaching out to different agencies. Instead of them activating and following the rule of law, they went into their trick bag and weaponized the government against you, weaponized the court system, weaponized the social media platform, all of the false flags and things that you've endured. And, just like Trump, they try to assassinate you. They did just about everything that they did to Donald Trump to my brother Carl. And I've been, by your side through the whole time, whether I've been active on the YouTube streets or just in support in the private. I got a lot of love for you because I understand. Like, I know what you've been through, and I see how a lot of people turned on you. I just wanted to stay true to our relationship, you my brother. But I don't want to get too deep in that. I'll break down just a little bit just on the recap for people to understand the ramifications of these executive orders that Trump has spoken about in his inauguration and kind of the lead up to that. Like, everybody knows that Elon Musk played a huge role in Trump winning the presidency. I think he vested like $200 million into his political campaign to support his presidency. And another thing that he did was he purchased formerly Twitter, changed it to X. Now, when that happened, that allowed them to collect all of the data and the things that the federal government were doing to censor and ban people on that platform. Google hasn't been fully dealt with yet, but that is the setup pin that's set up for all of these different social media platforms. We just saw the ban on TikTok that they lifted. Trump lifted it right away. But they put the ban on TikTok for a couple of hours after the Supreme Court ruling came down last week that it is a Chinese-operated platform. It's an issue of national security, and it needed to be dealt with. So all of these social media platforms, Google, they've generally been put on notice. I think Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook admitted that the government was interfering with his platform and forcing him to ban people by using the different intelligence agencies threatening to do investigations and do all of this stuff to him. He's admitted that. He went down to Mar-a-Lago, spoke to Trump. A lot of the CEOs of the big tech companies have pretty much bent to the political will of the people, because this is about the will of the people. People voted for Trump. He got the popular vote. This time around, hands down, he has a government mandate by the people to do these things. People wanted to see the borders get dealt with. He's sealing the southern border. That's another executive order. He's just declared a national emergency that relates to the southern border, as well as a national emergency that relates to energy. That gives him the power as the executive to put these orders in play and move on things. So the main topic, though, is the First Amendment and your right to be pro-hetero. Like, at the end of the day, it's not so much about, in my opinion, being anti-LGBTQ. It's just being pro the right to speak on it in a manner at which you don't have to agree with that. And also understanding that there was a political push to bring the trannies and things like that into the school system that has now been officially, or will be in the next few hours, through the endorsement of the president-elect. That stuff is no longer going to be flying. It's man and woman. I think he's also doing a lot that relates to putting the man back as the head of the household. I see some things about child support that relate to the man's right to claim the child on the taxes if they're paying the child support, which is huge. A lot of brothers get bogged down. When I first came around, we built with Royale about child support and how many brothers have been destroyed by the way the system does that. So there's some things coming on the table right now that I think is going to bring some relief to a lot of the men that are out there working, are out there supporting their children, but not technically getting the rights restored back to them as it relates to the taxes and stuff like that. So, it's a work in progress, but I think it's huge that he signs that executive order that ties to the federal government not being able to interfere with social media, because I feel like your platform has definitely been interfered with by either the government directly or through different informants and things that was totally out of bounds as it relates to your First Amendment rights, your religious right to claim Israel and all of this stuff you've been fighting and warring with dudes over. And they have a right to have a different opinion too, but my point is the methodologies that were used, the false flagging, the misuse of the court system, the whole LGBTQ thing with the Zulu Nation and the documentaries and just everything that they've been running for the last really 6-7 years is all coming to a head now in this current Trump administration. A lot of that stuff is on the table. My advice to you would be to get your topics, tight and lock in, man. Like lock in. You got the floor, you got the platform, you got a couple platforms. I see you streaming across various platforms. We'll work on whatever we gotta work on. But yeah, bro, it's that season. Springtime is our new year. So, give it about 3 months. Everything should be fully operational right around the Lord's New Year. So I think that's pretty much what I'll say, unless you want to build on something. What you got coming up, man?
Me and Raven next talking tomorrow about our mothers.
Okay.
Don't have to talk about anybody specific mother, but we will be talking about ours, and at the same time dealing with the fact that people are afraid to truly call their mothers what their mothers were.
Okay.
Don't tell me what your mother did, because what she did made her what you're afraid to call her. If your mother was doing whorish stuff, your mother was a whore. If she was doing bitch stuff, then she's a bitch. But people claim to be unafraid writers, and I can do this and I can do that, and then but you won't call what your mother did what it is. So like they say in the streets, what it is, ho, what's up? Hey.
Well, for me, my counsel, knowing how a lot of this stuff on YouTube with you transpired, I think you should talk about your moms as it relates to, how this all got started. A lot of people said that you had a vendetta against Hassan because he attacked your mother. It was just a principality associated with it. And a lot of people didn't run to your aid and be honest about that in regards to that man disrespecting your mother.
Yeah,
somebody took care of you and all of that, and you took care of her. And that's how I see it.
It's so simple that so simple that the world never seen me be the asshole that I was until that shit happened to me. And when that shit happened to me, I did what I did with no regrets. Never had regrets. But people wanted me to and tried to make me feel some kind of way. But no, like Pac said,
a lot of people come from broken homes. You were blessed to have both your parents. They stayed together throughout your life, and that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I will focus in on that without giving nobody else no light, man. My thing is right now, man, you deserve the light. Don't give nobody that don't deserve no light coming up, because they in trouble, in my opinion. Everybody that kind of went against you on some key principalities, they on the wrong side of history, obviously.
Oh yeah, I done put up snippets of the documentary just to let people know that I'm doing the documentary. I put her son picture up. I put the first case with K Slade and old boy. Hey, they the first to do what they did in 2013 before anybody else. That's something that they refused to let out there. Layla wheels and Troy Star Terrain, but the political world has changed. So
that's on the table too, by the way. That just reminded me in regards to the banning on the First Amendment. It also involves a lot of non-governmental organizations and charitable organizations. So the ways at which the charities intertwine with the media and social media is definitely on the chopping block. We're entering uncharted territory because for a long time they had what they call a bullhorn. They had control of all of these social media platforms. Google is still got a lot of things that got to be addressed, but I think with what Elon is doing, they're creating a new agency. Trump spoke about it, the Department of Government Efficiency. It's going to be a private-public partnership because Elon Musk is a private businessman that is going to be working with the public trust to try to bring some efficiency to the government, big cuts in funding on certain things, because the key that empowers a lot of this stuff is the funding. You take the money away, you take the incentive away. A lot of these people are getting paid to do or were getting paid under what you are aware of was Obamonomics, the Smith-Monk Act, and how they weaponized media against the American people and the social media platforms. So everything that they did, in my opinion, is now on the world stage as totally wrong. What they did to the LGBTQ, we were crying out at different points that they were trying to sneak the P in and trying to cross the streams on certain sexual acts as it relates to adults and the children, and how that was wrong what they did. They got to get down to the bottom of what was really going on with that Zulu Nation. Was Bam really dealing with underage children statutorily, or was he dealing with prepubescent teens? It's been played around with that some of these individuals were teenagers statutorily raped. Then you got other people saying they were prepubescent 12 and 13 and playing around with it at all. And then the crossing of the streams with the LGBTQ agenda, and then the IA plus, and just everything they did with your platform, the false flagging, the potentiality that higher ups at YouTube and the shadow banning was more meticulous with your platform than the average, flag mobs and the stuff that they do to try to pull you out the algorithm. That's another thing that's on the chopping block, which is the actual algorithms themselves that they're using to empower certain platforms and limit other platforms from being, viewed by the general users on YouTube. So
a lot of these fake Hebrew Israelites and everything, hey, they're gonna get dealt with this year. Because next month is Israelite History Month. I named it that last year. So that goes with the foundational Israelite Black American thing, where Israelites got to stand up and do what they got to do to make themselves prominent in the community again. And I'm going to be one of the main leaders in doing what I got to do.
That's what up, man. Well, my message to the public, the people who view this, even though the shadow banning is still coming on, we still in a public forum speaking about this. So I would just advise people, all those people that been against Israel doctrine, I think you might want to find a way to extend that olive branch, because I'm just here to tell you that everything has been being clocked. No move that is going on in the movement for the boys has been not thoroughly documented over here. we've been setting up things, and there's things that's coming, and I think everything lined up perfectly. I think the fact that you actually gave your vote to Trump speaks volumes, because you have a right as one of his voters to get certain assistance as it relates to the government. With a lot of this stuff has been going on. I ain't gonna say how and too much about that, but you know what it is, bro. And I'm just saying, like, people is in a lot of trouble if they don't repent and atone from the stuff they've been doing on this internet. It's coming. Because there's no way with all of that's going on with the P. Diddy's and Jay-Z, all that stuff is relative to what's been going on in the YouTube streets and what you've been reporting on since before Ron Savage and Hassan came out. I've been supporting your platform. You was talking about this as far back as them trying to get Malachi Z. York out of jail and all of that back and forth stuff, and sodomy misinterpreted, and just so many topics that you've covered, and why I believe they tried to get rid of all your channels. But by the grace of God, you still got your main platform and many other platforms, so all the information is not lost. Stuff is backed up. You got your records. Just hold on to it.
Yeah, it's all good. I've been hated on by the best, but the cream rises.
They didn't get down and ask for that boy, man. We was telling them when I was super active, I was like, asking for the boy is the key. I don't care what dudes felt about you, but the premise was the boy. And the people who went against that, and all of the people who went in arms to try to, they're in trouble, man. They're in trouble, because that shit that they did, bringing that to the community and asking for help, and then when people activate right, wrong, or indifferent and start trying to figure out ways to handle that properly, and then they weaponize everything against the people who are on the right path per se, that shit is not acceptable. Never accepted that. But you gotta wait on the Most High. The Most High is moving. He chooses the kings. At the end of the day, the Most High is who put Joe in. The Most High is who put Trump in now. So that's what it is. And here comes the storm. The storm has arrived. So
I've been ready for World War III. 1 and 2 was the greatest wars or battles in the world, and I want to see World War III. So man, it's no biggie to me. Like I said, I've been ready since '96. People just didn't know I was ready. I had to go through some shit, but hey.
So yeah, man, I'll just recap and close out. Trump is going to sign a bunch of executive orders, but the main one in the title is, he said in the inauguration he is going to pen an executive order that bans the interference of the government with the First Amendment as it relates to social media platforms and content creators. So that means that the government is not going to be able to interfere because they don't like what you're saying, right, wrong, or indifferent on your platform. And if they're caught doing that, that will, you'll have lawsuits and things like that. Everything is not fully in play. Obviously, his executive order will take some time to get in play, but once it's signed, it's going to set the precedent and the trend for social media for the next 4 years at least. 2 years, we'll say, because the next elections for the primaries with the House and the Senate is in 2 years. If Trump does a good job, he'll retain his majority for 4 years. But right now, 2 years on the clock, bro. They gotta deal with it, and you got all of your paperwork and everything you laid out. So just keep it in the chamber. Let these people do what they do. Don't give them no light, man. Give you light. Talk about Israel doctrine. Talk about your life. Talk about the things that you've been through, and let them dudes troll and do what they do.
The Israel of God, the mixed multitude, the church is here, been here.
That's what up.
It's called
activation.
Yeah,
that's it, man. I ain't gonna be too long-winded with it. Everybody, watch the clock. New administration, first day. This is day 0. So we're going to move forward and see what comes. But I think some big things is about to come. I thought this last thing, I did a show with you about Trump maybe about a couple weeks ago. The next thing that everybody should be watching for is the declassification. Oh, that was huge. Trump said he is going to declassify who killed JFK and Martin Luther King. Okay, so there's been a lot of classification of who was involved. We know a lot of people was around King back then. So I think everybody get their popcorn. By the way, I think today or yesterday was National Popcorn Day. So everybody get your popcorn and, you know, sit and watch this film. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here politically in, you know, the state of the country as it relates to all of us. So it's real. You know what I'm saying? But that's it, bro.
All right. Glad you picked up the phone. Glad you picked up the phone.
All right. Peace.
Peace. All right, people. Like I said, I'm not the creative reporter today or the spokesman for the creative reports that was made here on this channel, but the views and the opinion of me or anyone on this channel is not the views and opinion of the Israel of God, the mixed multitude, the church, or Israel doctrine, or any other platforms that I sit over. With that said, I appreciate everybody that came through today. Be prepared to hear, participate, and do everything that needs to be done to benefit us as a whole. And with that said, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button, because I only have 12% of my subscribers that they hit the notification button. And I do stuff daily, people. So stay informed. With that said, I'm out.
Throughout history, several historical groups and civilizations have been documented as having connections to ancient Israelite heritage while being of African descent. Here are some notable examples. The Beta Israel, Ethiopian Jews, a Jewish community that lived in Ethiopia for centuries. The Lemba people of southern Africa, who maintain traditions and practices similar to Jewish customs. Various communities in West Africa that have maintained traditions and practices that scholars have linked to ancient Israelite customs. It's important to note that this topic involves complex historical, genetic, and cultural evidence that continues to be studied by scholars and researchers.